And welcome, everybody. I really appreciate you taking the time for our episode number 4 of our 4-part series on increasing, restaurants' profitability, helping you become more successful, or for you advisors, how you might be able to make note of key things that you can help your clients in the future. I'm so pleased that the Dallas SBDC has made this possible, and I'm glad that these things are being recorded because you never know. In the future, you might have a question about something that we went over. And remember, we talked a lot about the people side of things, the product side of things. We talked about menu management. We already have an episode on the numbers, understanding your P&L and where to go and how to look at trying to increase that. So you've got that kind of stuff to use as reference when it becomes more current to you and your business. So today what we're going to do is add to that. And we're going to talk about what most clients refer to as the fun part, and that's the building of the brand. The ways marketing can work, things that have worked that others might be able to emulate. What type of marketing costs should we be budgeting? So we get to talk about that because guess what? A lot of times for the small independent restaurant operator, marketing is something that's misunderstood. When I ask people about their marketing strategy or what they've been doing, to increase brand awareness and use words like that, a lot of times I get the answer back about advertising. Somebody would say, I don't know, I've tried advertising. I bought some ads. One time I did a billboard. I don't really know if it helped. I put an ad in my local small town paper. Again, I don't really know if that helped. There was a dining guide, that the Junior League puts out every year. And I bought an ad in that. It made me feel good. The ad looked good, but again, I don't know if that worked. So the first thing I think what we want to do is talk about what is marketing? Because marketing isn't advertising. Advertising is a part of marketing. So let's not confuse the two. Marketing is basically the terminology we use for building and maintaining brand awareness in the minds of your consumer. How best can we build that brand so they know what the word, say, snooze means when they hear it and they think breakfast, brunch. And then how do we maintain that brand awareness with the people who are our customers? How do we, keep it on top of mind thinking so that they become more of a repeat customer? So that's really what it means. So that's why I say advertising is a part of it. But let's kind of talk about that as well as the other parts. Because the first thing that we try to do when we discuss marketing is it's almost like drawing a triangle. There are 3 equally important types of marketing and that get the brand out. One, of course, is what we will call your in-house promotions. Some of you call them LSM, local store marketing. It's the things that you're doing inside your restaurant or bar, or the banners that you're hanging on your food truck, the pass outs that you're providing with every to-go, pickup, curbside, whatever you're scheduling to promote. That is a big part of marketing, and we're going to spend some time talking about what does and doesn't work there. Local store marketing, in-house promos. That's the first side. Now, the second side is community support, community involvement, public relations. That type of thing also works extremely well. Some of your restaurant operators might have had or are planning to have the advisement of a restaurant specialty public relations firm. That seems to work, especially if they're able to help you stay directed on a plan. And if you're able to select what type of community activities, promotions work best for positioning your brand in the mind's eye of your consumer. Not everything works for everybody. But we're going to spend some time on that one, the community, interaction, what works for some, and how you might decide what's going to work for you. But the best way of getting your name involved in the community, public relations for events, schools, charities, etc., is important because we've learned over the years that when it comes to small business, people like doing business with people they like. So people seem to respond well when they're not just getting, say, maybe an ad about their favorite neighborhood Gulf Coast seafood place. It's got an all-you-can-eat, Friday night catfish basket. But if they hear that neighborhood, Gulf Coast related seafood restaurant is doing an active promo through the school year to benefit such and such school that's in the neighborhood, to try to raise X amount of money for whatever it was that school told them that they might need. Now, not only are they, promoting their name, they're promoting their brand, but they're doing it in connection with a just cause and something that you might really, really like. So again, the end result is they raise money, school gets something they need. That's a very good thing. But they're also doing it in a way that positions their brand in the mind's eye of the consumer that helps them go there and support them more regular business, bring more customers. It raises revenue. So we talked about what we're going to do inside the store. We talked about what we're going to do inside the community. And then the third leg of that triangle, so to speak, is the support media, which of course today is most types of social media and Instagram photos, YouTube videos. It's normally coordinating what we're doing in-house with what we're putting on social media. And how do we group together those influencers? How do we network, with them to be promoting us whenever it is they want to promote a particular food item or a particular holiday. So let's get started. That's it. There's 3 ways of advertising that work: local store, community, and the social media platform or other media. Some of you might still be doing like a radio program, if that works for a special event that you're doing, or a live band that's there on Saturdays or something. Some of you might use directional media, like a billboard that is on a highway that helps direct people to the small town square where you're located. But this is the triangle of marketing that includes the different types of advertising. And like I said, advertising is a part of marketing. Advertising isn't marketing, it's just a part of it. So what's the other part? Well, that's the part we're going to talk about, first, because the first part is all about your marketing of your operations. And you might be thinking, are you kidding me? How does operations have any impact on my brand? Well, operations has a heck of a lot of impact on your brand. How we do what we do says so much more about the business than, say, one well-placed ad, or one well-executed program, or one really good, well-accepted community project like sponsoring a blood drive or a food drive for a local pantry. All good things, all good ways of getting your brand out. But let's not forget that the one area that's most important in that is how we currently do our operations. Operations gives us the opportunity to basically market. It's what many people have called the 4 walls of marketing. It's what are we doing inside the restaurant on a routine basis that is sending out the message. So let's say today, for example, is a Wednesday, let's say. And so there might be an interesting Wednesday lunch rush, and you're the manager who's working the floor. If the attitude is, how best can I run this shift to make sure that it's airproof, everyone gets the right food at the right time, orders don't take too long, place stays clean, everyone gets the right check, I collect the money, I get through the shift. That's part of our mentality, and that's good, obviously. We want those things to happen. You want to have a successful operation. But if we think of it in terms of I'm also marketing, I'm not just managing Wednesday lunch. I want to manage Wednesday lunch in a manner that interests these people in coming back maybe for a weekend brunch, or interests these people in coming back for a dinner, or maybe booking a party, or starting to order my takeout, or that kind of thing. Well, then that means I'm going to be spending some time in addition to making sure that the right food gets to the right table, the right check is presented correctly, and everybody, enjoyed their food. I'm going to be spending some time actually managing my staff to direct them to interesting things that we should be promoting. We'll pick one of those items that we want to be selling. I might want to make sure that there are table tents placed on the table before that shift that are promoting our special weekend brunch, for example. Maybe there should be a menu insert. And then how about me, just the manager walking the floor, touching the tables, thanking people for coming in, reminding them to save room for dessert. And by the way, have you ever tried our weekend brunch? It's fantastic. We're on a little promotion here for the next couple of weeks to try to build up Saturday, Sunday brunch. Come check us out. So if we remember that we have the ability to manage today's shift just to get through today, but if we think in terms of marketing, we want to manage today's shift in terms of tomorrow. How can I make sure that they're so satisfied that when they leave, they're planning their return trip? And I'm directing their attention to perhaps when I might like that the next direct trip to be. Maybe it's a brunch, maybe it's a party, maybe it's a upcoming wine dinner. But these are the kinds of things that you want to make sure are known. So operations gives you the opportunity to market to the people who are there. Some of you that may have full service restaurants are the ones that have a better opportunity for this. Because when people come in and once they're sat, they're captive for 45 minutes, an hour, maybe longer. Okay. This still can work, but it takes, you have them for less time. But when you have that counter service, it takes less time to get through the counter. I get my food, but I'm still sitting there for a little bit of floor service. Thank you for coming in, and a really good operation can still help marketing even in a counter service type of atmosphere. So if you're cafeteria, small burrito guy, taco stand, and you're thinking, I don't have all that time to talk to my customers, you can still do it with what little bit of time you have for those who have grabbed their tray and they're dining in. So there's many different signals that really help marketing through operations. And we're going to talk about each of them in a little bit more detail. One is first, let's make sure that we're always presenting our operation in its best light. Something as simple as when you come in, if you just maybe sit in the dining room and look at things from a customer's point of view. Some operators tell me I need to do that from time to time. I need to come in the front door. And then I need to just kind of back up against the back door and look and say, now, if I was a customer, what am I seeing? That's when you start noticing maybe the cobwebs that are on the ceiling fan. Or when you're sitting at a table, that's when you might notice that table that's uneven. And it's got like 2 or 3 matchbooks, under one of the legs. That's when you might notice either the dirt in the corner or the broken tile or the tear in the carpet. And these are the kinds of things that, again, you might say, yeah, it's kind of a repair and maintenance item. Yeah, but it's marketing your message. Is your message that you're marketing a well-oiled operator, or is the message that you're sending unkept? How clean are the restrooms? What type of background music do we have? Is that pre-shift handled before we open so that the counter servers, cashier, or if we're full service, the bartenders and the servers know what steps of service you're expecting? Greeting the customer, pointing out a local promotion, suggesting a particular special, saving room for dessert. These are all interesting ways of entertaining the guest and showing them all of the facets of your operation. So what does that do? Sometimes it has an immediate effect because, yeah, people might bite and say, what a good idea. I will share a dessert. And you raised your check average. But in all occasions, even for those that don't necessarily bite for the suggestive selling, but they all enjoy the idea of being well taken care of, well served, clean environment, concept works, staff is friendly. So when they leave, somebody hurries to the door, opens the door, thank you, come back, see you next week, that kind of a thing. That helps them bond with the experience, not just get through lunch, I liked it, I paid, and I leave. That experience is what we call the satisfied guest. I got through, I liked it, I paid, I left. Let's underline that and call that the satisfied guest. They're satisfied because nothing went wrong. They paid, they left, they went back to work. But from a marketing perspective, the satisfied guest doesn't do us much. What we want is somebody who's leaving, and when they're leaving, they bonded with the experience. They were so happy that now they're thinking of when they're coming back the next time. That's the difference between a satisfied guest and a loyal guest. A loyal guest is the one that goes through the line. They've been here before. Maybe they're picking the barbecue. They ordered the grande burrito, but they like the counter server who's suggesting the add-ons, the guacamole, the this. Did you save room for cobbler? They giggle. They may have taken it. They may not have, but they like the attention. They like the smile. They like being thanked. People like being appreciated. These are great steps for operations, but they're mandatory steps for marketing your brand for the people in four walls marketing. Four walls marketing. Remember, how can I sell the people who are there? Now that person leaves and they eat there, or maybe it was a to-go item, so they get their bag and they go back to the office. What if for those people who went through the line and ordered their burrito and said yes to some of the suggestive selling, said no to some of it, got a smile, got a thank you, got the bag. They get back to the office, they open the bag. What if inside each one of the to-go bags was a nice little flyer? And a flyer that thanked them for their business and maybe had little reminders for next week's promotions. That's an actual thing that a restaurant does. Now, see, now that creates some loyalty. That creates them thinking about you after the fact. And that's what you want. Because the practices of a satisfied customer is typically someone that goes there once in a while, likes it enough because there's nothing that went wrong, pays and leaves. But the practices of a loyal customer, somebody who bonded with the experience because of that note and the specials, or because of the guest handling, or because of the manager touching the table and opening the door when they leave. The practices of that customer is they leave, they go back to the office and they tell somebody about why they should go there. Or they might be the one that calls their wife and says, you know, on Fridays when we have dinner with the Millers, instead of them picking that, whatever it is, that blah, blah, blah seafood shack, let's take them to this chicken place. I was just there for lunch with the guys. We had a great time. So let's take the Millers there. So bingo, now they're already planning something next. Or maybe they don't do that, but they do call ahead and say, I'm going to book my office luncheon in your private room. Or maybe they do react to that table tent and say, I'm going to bring my wife and family there after church for Sunday brunch, rather than the whatever pancake house place that we've been going to regularly. See, all 3 or 4 of those things raise revenue, which is the goal of good marketing. But it didn't come from an ad, didn't come from radio, didn't come from social media. We're going to get to that. It didn't really come from a community program, although those are very important, and PR, very important, but we're going to get to that. It was the item that we do every single day. It's the item that is bigger than the 3 sides of the marketing triangle. It's the 4 walls of marketing, the 4 walls of operation. I mean, the kind of marketing that you do within the 4 walls of where you operate sends a message. So let's organize that message. Let's make it a positive, promotionally minded to them what we want them to do next. Come back for this, order a that, get a catering, do a party, you know, whatever it is that we want. We need to decide, and it needs to be part of our daily operation. Does that make sense? That's the operation side. Now, we are going to talk about maybe each one of those sides of the triangle in greater detail now. The idea of, for example, local store marketing is kind of a next step from the 4 walls of operation. Because local store marketing is an area where sometimes we get confused and we make a great error. And a great error is trying to send too many messages at one time. Do some of you advisors have clients that are like that? Or maybe you go into the restaurant and you see, hey, this is good. There's a really nice poster on an easel by the greeting desk, and it's talking about the new weekend brunch. Good. But then we go to the table and we open up and there's an insert in there about Monday Night Football. Don't miss our buckets of beer in the bar. Also good. Then there's also the today's special that's on ribs. Okay, also good. But then the server comes to the table and he or she's wearing a button about death from chocolate, our new double stacked chocolate pie, because there's a dessert contest. Okay, also good. But what isn't good is trying to schedule 4 or 5 directions at the same time. That's what's not good. Too much promotion is not promotion. Too many things being promoted is confusion. So that's the first thing we want to talk about with our local store promotions is let's schedule them. Okay, let's schedule what do we want to be promoting and when. This is like taking a page out of what the chains do. And why not? If we were a large successful chain, we'd probably have a couple of really good graduates from marketing studies with degrees in consumer research, and they would be showing us what types of things create what type of reactions and what items work in what season. And they would come up with a tremendous plan of why we want to do this in the fall, and back to school, we should be promoting this because it works for the kids and the schools. And summer, we want to do this kind of a thing for the family. And they would lay it all out, right? And then the chains are the ones that would have a well-oiled marketing program where they know that for the next 3 weeks, if we're wanting to push, say, our new fall winter dessert menu, then guess what? Every unit would wind up getting the same banner that hangs, the same poster in the foyer, the same button, the same insert, so that everywhere you look, it's talking about try our chocolate, pumpkin spice, pecan, cinnamon, whatever swirled pudding. And they'd have beautiful pictures, but it would be a consistent message, right? The server would come on up with the pin. They would take the order. And when they took the order, they would say, thank you, that's great. Oh, chicken fried steak, that's wonderful. Who's saving room for our pumpkin latte, cinnamon sliced caramel pudding? Because, it's really good. See what I mean? It's well-oiled, well-organized, and they're focused on one thing. Now, a couple of weeks later, that marketing material might go away, and it might become, say, the World Series promo, or it might become the buckets of beer in the bar promo. As it gets closer to holidays, it might be all about the gift cards. Make a great gift for kids, for students, for teachers, for whoever you got in the office pool. So everything's going to be talking about get your gift card, get your gift card. See what I mean? But what they won't do is come up with a calendar that sends all that out at the same time. And that's because they know that people's best reaction comes from being directed. If we just confuse them, then it's just gobbledygook. So take a page from that. One of the most famous ones, and I don't know if it's really done anymore. I haven't seen it in a long time. But again, Texas-based chain, everybody knows about Chili's. They've been around forever. When they started doing whatever it was 20 years ago, the baby back rib thing, do you remember how well oiled those promos were? I mean, you had the banner, you had the poster, you had the button. If you opened up the menu, they had a paper rib that would smack you in the face. I mean, it was a consistent message that we want you thinking ribs. So think of that example when you're looking at your own restaurant and say, how am I going to do my local store promos? What are the things that I want to be doing? Maybe I should sit with my key staff and come up with a plan for what's going to work for these 2 weeks, then these 2 weeks, then what should work for the next 2 weeks. And then, what do I do after holidays? Or maybe before I get to the end of holidays, let's dwell on what we should be doing right now to think about our Thanksgiving family packs, or our whole pecan pies that we want people to order and take home. And then right after that, are we really set up for our Christmas push, for our gift cards for holidays, etc. So maybe month by month, we should have a little plan for just local store promos. And then that gives us time to implement the table tents or the buttons or the posters or whatever we need. Even the to-go should not be left out. Carside pickup should have a little card or a little 8.5 by 11, something that you printed that's saying the same message that they would have gotten if they were inside going through the line or sitting at a table. So that's one of the reasons why we do local store promos. That's the other reason why we get our satisfied guests to become loyal guests, because they will follow these things and they'll come more often. A really good way of creating loyalty from a guest, and sometimes, and this might surprise you, but a good way is the way we handle the dissatisfied customer. I talked earlier about the satisfied customer. Nothing went wrong. I was okay. I paid. I left. We don't know how soon I'll come back. Hard to read. We talked about how to create the loyal customer, really, the bonding through the experience. Hey, now let's talk about how do we market the dissatisfied customer? Some of you operators are thinking, I don't know how to do that. I mean, when somebody is upset, or somebody said the ribs are tough, or the chicken was cold, or no, I didn't enjoy my lunch. What do we do there that can that could turn that into a marketing success? Obviously, we missed on whatever it was we served them. So the first thing I want to say about that is, from a marketing perspective, it makes no difference whether the customer was right or wrong. We've always been taught that if you're in business, that the customer is always right. Well, I think once we're in business, we realize that that's not always the case. But the more important thing is, it doesn't matter. Right and wrong have absolutely nothing to do with marketing your brand. You know what does? What works? So think of that when you go to the table and somebody didn't enjoy their lunch. Let's go back to the rib example. Let's say they ate most of them, but they're saying, no, I would have enjoyed lunch better, but your ribs were cold and tough. Okay, so right away, you might be a little defensive because you know that rib was cooked with all of the other ones, and everyone else's ribs were falling off the bone, and they came off the same smoker, seasoned the same way, cooked at the same temperature. So I'd like to smack you because you ate most of them, and now you're telling me they were cold and they were tough, and I know better, they weren't. Now that's the conversation we have inside. Okay, that's the conversation, because that's what we know. But on the outside, from a marketing perspective, if we don't grab that as an opportunity to sell, we've missed it. So they need a sincere apology. I'm horribly sorry you found our ribs tough. It's incredible. We live by those things. We obviously missed, and I'm so sorry I didn't catch it earlier so that you didn't have to, wear yourself out going through our tough ribs, but I'm going to take this away from you. And now he's going to say, oh, no, I just wanted you to know, no, I'm taking it off the table. I'm taking it off the ticket. I want you to leave with a good taste in your mouth. So now you run back to the table with maybe a complimentary dessert. He might share that with the other couple of people. And so step one, sincere apology, never disagree. Always want to satisfy and take it off the table. Take it off the ticket. Step two, run something to the table. You don't ask, you just do it, okay? Here it is. Let me give you some coffee. Let me give you chocolate. I'm so sorry that, we obviously missed on your entree. I don't want you leaving with a bad taste in your mouth. So now they've got some free death by chocolate, double chocolate cake and sauce. Okay, now here is the cream to the top of that, to the cream of the coffee, so to speak, is you want to make sure that everyone notices this. Now you're going back to the table with a little envelope, and you're giving the person who had the complaint about the ribs, again, whether they were cold and tough or not the point, right? Wrong? Don't think about that. What works is in the middle. And what works is I'm giving you a gift card. It's worth the value of an entree the next time you come in. You want him coming back. Or even if he doesn't come back, you want him to see that envelope with your logo on it in his house, advertising what a good guy you are. And from a marketing perspective, you want the entire dining room to know, wow, somebody obviously didn't like something. Free desserts are coming. Gift cards are coming. Okay, now let's add this up, because some of you are probably curling your toenails thinking, I can't do that. I mean, I'm not that busy and I'm giving away the house. Let's add that up. Okay, somebody ordered $20 worth of ribs, which probably cost you $7 or $8. You gave them a dessert you would normally charge for, let's say an $8 dessert that cost you, say maybe, $3, we're up to like $11. Okay, now I gave him a gift card. Oh my God, he's going to come back and get a $30 entree. That might cost me another 10 or 12. Okay, what if we have a total of 20 some dollars involved in what I just did? That's from a cost point of view. Okay, I code that cost to marketing. Okay, does that make sense? And that is really inexpensive marketing, to take a dissatisfied customer, whether they're true or not, but turn it into a marketing expo. And then hopefully that person does come back. Okay, here comes a key question for you operators out there. How many times does somebody come in to eat in your restaurant for free by themselves? Okay. I don't have that happen. Typically, the guy wants to show off. He brings in one buddy or two buddies, or the lady wants to have her usual Thursday lunch with the gals at this place because the check's going to come and I'm going to be able to pull out, oh, look at me, I'm so special. I get to eat free today. Okay, you're in the corner laughing, saying, thank you, ma'am, because the 3 people you brought in just covered the cost of the gift card I gave you. So you may not really have a loss at all. Okay, now let's back up and say, okay, let's say they never come back. Let's say they do come back and they do eat by themselves. So it did cost you the whole $20, $25. Hopefully this doesn't happen often. But even if it happened once a week, that's a total of $100 that you did for customer retention. And that marketing cost of $100 gives you a really good bang for your buck, because if you go out to the community and see what could you buy, what kind of airtime, what kind of ad, I doubt you could even get an ad in the weekly Sunday bulletin that they still pass out at church for $100 over a month. So, and no one really reads that anyway. So for the best bang for your buck, let's think about that. It's hard to leave four walls of marketing without talking about organizing your local promotions and without talking about marketing to that dissatisfied guest, because turning that into a marketing position really works. I had to learn this over the long haul. I don't mind sharing some, personal learning experiences, but I remember, quite frankly, doing this and having a hard time holding back my inside, conversation, because I was working the expo. I personally saw the 9-inch oval ceramic under the heat lamp. I saw the herb roasted rosemary chicken coming out of the oven, which was at 350 degrees, that went on the warm plate that I personally put on the tray to go along with the other items. And then I saw the guy run it right out the swinging doors to table 14. That whole situation probably took 40 seconds. So imagine my surprise when I went and I talked to those folks and the lady said that the chicken was cold. True story. See what I mean? So I, sometimes had this experience where my inside voice was saying, you got to be kidding me. My fingers are still tingling. I'd like to put them across your throat right now. But the outside voice always wins. The outside voice with the gift card is the best marketing appeal. You want everyone in the dining room to know that you are all about service. You're all about guest satisfaction. And when that guest comes back, more than likely, there's going to be one or two other people at the table. And that really helps overcome the cost that you just gave. So we're going to leave that now. We're done with the four walls of marketing. We're done with the inside. Now let's talk about how do we make our marketing plan work? If we're going to have social media, and if we're going to have influencers, if we're going to have community promotions, how do I implement this? Okay. And what does this cost? Well, let's talk about this in terms of an annual plan. This can be just a simple Excel spreadsheet. It could be on a legal pad. It's function over form here. It makes no difference. But what you really want to do, and you know what, October is a great month for this, to take a look at next year and say, during 2024, what are the key items I want to do? What are the special events that I think my restaurant should be a part of in the first couple of months? Okay, well, we got Valentine's Day that we should be thinking about. Well, maybe we start thinking about that right after Christmas holidays over. We're done totaling up our gift cards and our caterings to the offices and our in-house private dining rooms for Christmas. Right after that, let's talk about what are we going to do and what are the decorations going to be, and let's plan ahead. So we're looking at that now. What else are we looking at for March or for April, or before we get into Mother's Day and Easter? Are there certain activities? Are there spring festivals? Are there things that we should be a part of? Are there farmers markets? And you sort of list these things as to when they're going to be. Okay, then it's easier to month by month start making a checklist of those items as to what is it we're going to be marketing, and who's going to be responsible for doing what, who gets the decor, who develops the food item, who's going to create some new interesting chocolate heart-shaped dessert that we're going to include in our Valentine's Day meal. So all of that can kind of get written ahead of time. So you go through the year, summer, back to school, Halloween, next holiday push. What are the key things that from a marketing perspective you think you should be paying attention to? Then the second thing is we look at that calendar and say, okay, in addition to events, community programs, or things that benefit me, and holidays, what are other things? Like, when do I think I'm going to roll out maybe my I don't know, spring, summer menu? Okay, so maybe a month before that, I should be developing table tents, some staff education, maybe pictures of the food for Instagram. So you see what I'm doing? The best kind of marketing is thought about ahead of time and it's documented. If not, it's too haphazard and it's poorly implemented because we're all last minute. You know what I mean? And raise your hand if you've done that before, where it's March and it's like a week away and they're going, oh my God, next week is St. Patty's Day. I've always wanted to do something in some kind of a bar special. What should we do? And then we huddle. Okay, you go to Walmart, buy anything you can find that's green. Okay. And it's all this last minute and it doesn't get promoted well, doesn't get implemented very well. And it's just because we didn't have a plan. We didn't have a guide. We didn't have a reminder. And so we get busy being busy. And so we don't market very well. So schedule the events, holidays, key programs. This is when you decide what it is I want to do in the community. Remember that story that I told you about Gulf Coast, seafood, school? Okay, that was a true story. They did that on their first annual plan. It's two brothers. They run two restaurants. They're in the Austin area. They're called Catfish Parlor. And the brothers, in their very first annual plan that they did, I think I was working with them at a time, it was like 11 years ago. They said the community thing we like to get involved in is neighborhood education, because our mom was a big teacher. So what we're going to do is adopt a school. At the beginning of the school year, we're going to reach out to this. I think one had a middle school close by, one had an elementary close by. We're going to reach out to them and say, during your 9-month school year, we'd like to pick a day. They picked Monday night, their slowest evening. We'd like to promote that as such and such school night. All of the diners coming in are going to know that what they're ordering, 10% of their guest check is going to be set aside to benefit the school. So what we want from the school is for you guys to promote during your announcements or whatever, that people should be paying attention to us every Monday, because it helps you get and then they always ask the school to pick an item. You know, schools always need things. They always need things that either the tax base isn't paying for, something else isn't paying for. So it wasn't very hard for them to come up with things like, this year we'd really like new furniture for the teacher break room. Or we'd really like to replace the small little jungle gym set and the slide on the playground. Or we'd like this, or we'd like that. There's no money in the budget for it. So every year they pick that. So great. Big poster, help us support blah, blah, blah school, get the new playground equipment they need. So for you operators out there, you know, if I pick one shift and I'm just reserving, say, 5 or 10%, that may not be a lot. And you're right. But, you know, $30 here or $100 here that's reserved, and you do that 4 times a month and you have 9 months. Now, at the end of the year, you give them this, you know, donation, and before you know it, it's a few $1,000s. You can buy some chairs and a coffee urn for the teacher's lounge for that, or you can get playground equipment or something else that might be needed, or art supplies for the art studio, or help for the library or something. So every year that's what they did. They might still be doing it, I don't know, but that was on their calendar and it's on their schedule. And you talk about the kind of promotion that you get from being active in the community. It's tremendous. It's promotion you couldn't really afford. The Austin Statesman ran a story with the big foam board check, giving it to the principal, you know, hugging on the shoulders, with a little story about he got $3,200 for the blah, 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 you know, playground, from all the folks in the community that have been supporting Catfish Parlor. Name, picture, all that cool stuff in the newspaper is a great, you know, brand placement. So when you schedule your events and you pick your community thing, remember, no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. So pick your something. Is it the blood drive? Greek restaurant in Houston does that. They have the blood drive in their parking lot. So instead of people just getting a small shot of juice and a cookie, you know, they come into the restaurant, they get, I don't know, some kind of a complimentary gift card and a free dessert. He gets a ton of promotion. Because, you know, when there's a blood drive in town, every news outlet for a week is telling everyone where to go on Saturday. You know, the United Way needs more blood. We've got the mobile van. It's going to be parked over here. So offering the parking lot keeps them from going to maybe a school or a public library. And they're talking about your restaurant for a week. He loved the promotion. And that was just, you know, his interest. Some people do the canned food drive. Some people want to, help a particular food pantry or women's shelter. So just remember, marketing is good if you honestly believe in supporting a community project and you have your PR people team up with them. You might do an event for the March of Dimes. You know, I don't know. Pick one item, be sincere, make sure it's something you believe in, and then you're getting the promotion and they're getting the benefit, the monetary benefit. It works wonderful. So all of that goes into your plan. Now you want to manage your plan. I got an annual plan. I'm excited. I wrote in all the holidays. I wrote in when I'm going to roll out the new menus and what couple of events I'm doing that are community minded. Maybe it's athletics, team sponsoring, or all the other items that I mentioned. Okay, now how do we implement that to get the best bang for our buck? And the best way to market your brand is what I call the 90-60-30. You look at your plan 90 days out. So that means, say, maybe right after Christmas, you're already looking at February and March, and you're confirming what the items I'm doing. 60 days out. So that means if it's right after Christmas, Valentine's Day is within 60 days. I'm not just confirming what I'm going to be doing, but 60 days out, I'm assigning the specific duties. of who's doing this on food and beverage, who's doing this with the PR, who's doing this for the photos, for the spot, who am I following up with to lay out price of the promo, table tent design. So who's doing what and when is it due by? All those assignments have to be done in time so we don't do it last minute. 30 days before is when we're implementing. 30 days is when, okay, those things that I designed are now on the table. Those Valentine's Day promotional leaflets that go into the to-go bags are now being printed. The pictures that are promoting the special meal are now ready for Instagram and social media. So we implement in the last 30. But in order to do that, we've confirmed our plan 90 days before. We've assigned all the tasks 60 days before. That's the best way to manage whatever marketing plan you come up with. Does that make sense? How much do these marketing plans cost? It's a percentage of your sales. Of course, that can vary. But what I've noticed is that typically 3 to 4% of your revenue is typically in marketing, especially when you remember marketing now isn't just advertising. Marketing is community promotions, in-store promotions. So it's the printing materials, it's the PR person's fee, it's the social media time, it's the twice a year, maybe food photography. You add all of that up, and that's typically what I find in most restaurants is 3 to 4% of revenue being budgeted. As you get busier and you do the same marketing, the percentage might drop. If you're just starting up and your volume is building, don't be surprised if your first year is more like 5 or 6. But as you get connected and your volume builds, that same marketing cost will drop and you'll be in line. So we plan it, we implement it, and then we review what worked, how well did it work, and then make adjustments. So we know I want to do this again, but I'm going to have to do this differently because I really liked the results I got. I just have to find maybe a lesser expensive way of handling the media. So you plan, as we've talked about, and then when you implement the plan, you want to review each item. Let's review that holiday promo. Let's review the menu promo. Let's review that fall festival in the parking lot or the 6K fun run. Did it get the attendance? Did we get the promotion? What did it cost? What would I want to do differently if I do it again? Do I want to do it again? See, and then we keep going. So think of your marketing plan as sort of a circle. It isn't a one and done. Hopefully after today, none of you are going to talk about marketing in terms of an ad. You're going to understand that if I just did an ad once in a while, it's very hard to measure effectiveness. And you're going to understand that advertising, whatever I choose to advertise, whether it is print media, radio time, a directional billboard, social media, photos on Instagram, or the promotion of my product to the followers that we have, to the influencers that write, the bloggers that are in my community, all of that together, is marketing. And it is worthwhile. We're marketing our message, whether we're organized about it or not. So if we're not organized, think of that. That means that my brand, my name is being marketed to everybody that sees it, everyone that orders online, everyone that comes in the building. So what is the message that I'm marketing? Is it confusion? Am I trying to do too much? Do I have signs all over the place and each one says something different? Am I updating my website so that this way, whatever it is we're talking about in store is also on the weekly Instagram, it's on my monthly email blast, and you go to the website and it's on there. So those are the things that we want to do in order to manage, our marketing plan. So where do you go from here now? Let's spend just the last few minutes before we open it up for questions to talk about where do we go from here? How do we start? It's October. We talked through the 2024 plan. How do we finish this year strong? What are we doing right now, for example, for making sure that we can promote whatever it is we want to do for Thanksgiving? Do we have our family packages decided? Are we doing some type of a online curbside pickup, maybe the day before Thanksgiving? Are we doing whole turkeys? Are we doing bakery pies? There's a turkey leg place that I know that started out as sort of a smoked barbecue place, and they specialized in turkey legs. They're already talking about turkey legs. Turkey leg, turkey leg, turkey leg. Get in line, get your turkey leg. And so I'm thinking, we haven't even done Halloween, but their postings are pictures of people last year holding turkey legs. What the price is going to be. I'm sure if you were in the restaurant, they probably have a poster that said next month is dedicated to turkey legs. So they have a turkey leg special the whole month of November, and that's their way of celebrating Thanksgiving. So no, you don't have to do a traditional, smoke a whole turkey and sell, green beans and mashed potatoes. Some of you might have good luck doing that, but to me, we want to start right now. Let's get our feet moving towards what are we doing for Thanksgiving? Some type of a promotion, pie, bakery, turkey legs, or something. And then also think about right after Halloween might be a really good time to put your final pedal to the metal for holiday marketing. Anything you want to talk about for holidays, Christmas gift cards, last minute parties that you're booking, family packages for Christmas Eve dinners. You want to start putting that together because that's the 60-day out. And assigning who's doing tasks for that. And then how are we going to market that? So right after, Thanksgiving promotion comes, for those of you who haven't made your, whatever Christmas plans, we've got our Christmas Eve lasagnas, or we've got our Christmas this, and of course you're already selling your gift cards. So you want to get started quickly. Some marketing isn't as easy as just find the holiday that works for you. Some of you might have concepts that aren't that holiday related. You might have, say, food trucks. You might be doing food trailers at farmers markets, and you've got a steady clientele on the weekends, and it doesn't require a St. Patrick's Day, bar special, or it doesn't require a Valentine's Day heart-shaped something. So you've got to think about your particular menu items and what seems to work for you. So look at all the people that have done, join our taco club. And it's a year-round member of the Velvet Taco family. You get notified of new tacos that are starting out, before anyone else. You're invited to order the off the menu. Anytime you can, email blast or go to your social media and speak to people that have already been in the place, you're preaching to the choir. These things have nothing to do with holidays. They're your all the time marketing. So it's good to have loyalty clubs. It's good to have, say, wine dinner clubs, if that fits your concept. It's good to be part of our Taco of the Week family. And after they order so many taco specials, they get the fourth one free or something. These are things that a lot of you can be doing. They have nothing to do with the planned holiday approach, or maybe they don't have anything to do with a special party. Not everyone has party rooms. Not everyone can promote gatherings or social and business meetings. Some of you do off-premise catering, but not everyone does. But my point here is that everyone can have a very active way of properly marketing your brand. And that's what we do with advertising and with operations. And don't forget the last one, even with the people that at the moment didn't like us, that dissatisfied guest. There are some clients that even if they hear the next day because they got a bad Yelp or they got a phone call to the manager, I was there yesterday, didn't really want to say anything, but the service was this, or the blah, 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 blah was that. Again, you don't let them go without getting that sincere apology. I wish I would have known yesterday, but I'm so happy that you called. And then how can I contact you for follow-up? Get an address or something so that you can send them that gift card, because you just don't want to leave it alone. There are some examples that go crazier than that. There's some high-end restaurants that actually will send flowers or a I'm sorry balloon to the office. I mean, there are different things that I've seen, and you don't do them all, but you pick what works for you. So hopefully these tidbits hit target. Hopefully the idea of the annual plan and what to budget and how to do it goes back to that staff engagement and it works for you. Hopefully those of you that have been inspired to get active in the community can find that the best way to do that is do it in a way that benefits a community item that you're involved with and believe in anyway. But you do it through the restaurant, and the restaurant gets tremendous benefit because people like doing business with people they do business with. During COVID, for example, restaurants went out of their way to do great things. And I think that really solidified many restaurants' marketing plans with their community. They loved the fact that food was being sent to first responders or people that were, working out, and people that were at doing traffic fire. People that were in emergency rooms were getting, food. Here's our Wednesday Mexican family special of, say, rice, beans, and enchiladas for 12. And they were being delivered to the people who are working hard. And guess what? Customers remember that, even still to today. Some restaurants are still doing that, by the way, to either schools or fire stations or emergency rooms. Again, don't do everything. Do what you know works for you.